Level 1. The signature. The first time you sign someone else's name, your hand shakes. The second time it doesn't. By the 47th time, it's just handwriting. But the first time you write a stranger's name on a credit card application and it gets approved. You sit in your apartment staring at the screen and you realize that a name is just letters and letters don't know who's writing them. You work the night shift at a hotel front desk. $11 an hour. Guests hand you their credit card and driver's license at check-in. You photocopy them for the file. The file goes in the cabinet behind the front desk. Nobody audits the cabinet. Nobody counts the copies. Every guest who checks in hands you their entire identity on a laminated rectangle and a piece of plastic, and you put it in a drawer and nobody ever asks about it again. The night shift is quiet. 3 check-ins between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. on a good night. The rest is sitting behind the desk watching the lobby and knowing that the cabinet behind you holds more value than anything in the building. Each folder contains a name, an address, a date of birth, a credit card number, and a photocopy of a face attached to all of it. Hundreds of folders. Hundreds of people who trusted the front desk, and the front desk is you. You take one registration form home. Just one. A business traveler who checked out that morning. Stayed one night. Left a photocopy of his driver's license and credit card on the registration form. You fold it and put it in your jacket. Nobody notices. Nobody checks. You have his full name, his address, his date of birth, his driver's license number, his credit card number. You use his information to apply for a store credit card online. The application asks for his social security number. You don't have it. You meet Cole at a bar 3 weeks later. He's 28, clean cut, works in consulting. He buys rounds he shouldn't be able to afford on a consultant's schedule. One Tuesday, he tells you what he actually does. He opens credit lines in other people's names. He's been doing it for 3 years. Never caught. He uses each identity once and never spends in the same city he steals in. Cole tells you where to get social security numbers. Data broker sites on the dark web sell full identity packages. Name, date of birth, address, SSN, mother's maiden name, employer. $7 per identity. $7 for someone's entire financial existence. $7. A person's name is worth less than a sandwich. Their credit history, their clean record, their 12 years of on-time payments. $7. You sit in your apartment the first time you open a data broker listing and you count the entries. Thousands of identities for sale. Sorted by credit score. Sorted by age. Sorted by state. You can filter by income bracket. You can search by zip code. It looks like a shopping website. Because that's what it is. You buy the business traveler's package. His SSN matches the name on the registration form. You apply for the store credit card again. Approved. $3,000 limit. You buy a laptop, headphones, a television. You have everything shipped to a P.O. box you open with a fake utility bill. You max the card in 4 days. You never make a payment. The business traveler's credit score drops 40 points. He won't notice for 3 months. You sign his name on every form. Your handwriting. His name. That's the trade. You sign someone else's name and someone else pays the price. The signature is the crime. Everything else is paperwork. Level 2. The package. Cole teaches you volume. One identity at a time is amateur. You buy packages in bulk. 50 identities for $250. Each package contains everything. Full name, SSN, date of birth, address, mother's maiden name, phone number, employer. 50 people for $5 each. You quit the hotel. You don't need the filing cabinet anymore. The dark web has filing cabinets that never close. You open credit cards, store cards, personal loans. 5 to 8 accounts per identity. You rotate names weekly. You never use the same identity in the same state. You ship everything to rented P.O. boxes and temporary addresses using forwarded mail. You resell the items through online marketplaces for 60 cents on the dollar. Laptops, phones, designer bags, watches. Anything with a receipt becomes cash within a week. $12,000 a month. From your apartment. Signing names that aren't yours on applications that aren't questioned. Because credit card companies want to say yes. Every approval is revenue for them. The fraud is their cost of doing business. They budget for you. You're a line item in their quarterly report. The system is designed to approve. Instant approval. No phone call. No verification. No human being looking at the application and asking, is this real? Just an algorithm that checks the credit score and the debt ratio and says yes. The algorithm doesn't know the person applying is sitting in an apartment 3 states away using a $7 identity package. The algorithm says yes because the numbers look right. And you make the numbers look right. You start to understand something. Identity isn't a person. Identity is a file, a collection of numbers that exist in a database. And whoever controls the numbers controls the person. You don't need their face. You don't need their voice. You don't need to know anything about them except the numbers. The numbers are the person as far as every bank and every credit card company and every loan officer is concerned. Cole taught you one more thing before he disappeared. Don't keep records. Don't save the names. Don't track the identities. Use them and discard them. Like burner phones. Burner people. Cole disappears after 6 months. Doesn't say goodbye. Doesn't explain. You hear from someone at the bar that he moved to another state. Started over with a new set of names in a new city. Cole rotates cities like seasons. You never see him again. You keep a spreadsheet. Cole told you not to. You do it anyway. 47 identities used in 6 months. Each one opened. Milked. Discarded within 3 weeks. 47 people whose credit scores dropped because you needed a laptop or a watch or rent money or just the feeling of an approval screen turning green. The green screen is the thing nobody talks about. The moment the application says approved. That's the high. Not the laptop. Not the watch. Not the money. The approval. The system saying yes. Saying this identity is real. Saying this person qualifies. The system believing you. That's what keeps you opening the next application before the last one is even maxed out. You don't think about the 47 people. They're rows in a spreadsheet. They aren't names. They aren't faces. They're SSNs and credit limits and approval odds. Somewhere in Ohio, a teacher checks her credit score and it dropped 60 points and she doesn't know why. Somewhere in Texas, a man gets a collections call for a store card he never opened and he thinks it's a scam call and hangs up, and 6 months later his car loan is denied. Somewhere out there, 47 people are living with damage they don't understand from a person they'll never meet. The signature gets faster every week. Your hand doesn't shake anymore. It hasn't shaken since the 3rd one. Level 3. The life. Cole taught you credit cards. You teach yourself the rest. You open a car loan in someone else's name. A $32,000 sedan. You walk into the dealership with a fake driver's license and the identity of a 51-year-old electrician from Ohio. The salesman shakes your hand. He runs the credit check. Approved. He congratulates you on the purchase. You drive it off the lot, and you are driving a car that belongs to a person who doesn't know it exists. You drive it for 4 months and sell it to a private buyer in another state for $18,000 cash. The electrician in Ohio gets a collections notice for a car he never bought in a city he's never visited. He calls the loan company. He says, "This isn't mine." They say, "Prove it." You rent an apartment in someone else's name. Security deposit. First and last month. You use the apartment for 2 months as a shipping address for merchandise bought with stolen credit. Then you disappear. The landlord sends the eviction notice to a person who never lived there. The name on the lease is real. The person behind it is you. The person on the lease is a stranger in another city wondering why their credit score just dropped, and a collections agency is calling about rent they never agreed to pay. Then Nina. Nina's identity package costs you $7 in a bulk purchase. 34 years old. Veterinary technician. Makes $38,000 a year. Good credit score. Clean history. Low existing debt. She is the perfect candidate for high-limit applications. You open a credit card in Nina's name. $15,000 limit. Approved in 4 minutes. Then a second card. $22,000. Then a store card. $8,000. Then a personal loan. $40,000. Then a car loan. $62,000 for a vehicle she'll never see. Over 14 months, you build an entire financial life in Nina's name. You change the phone number on her accounts to a burner you control so the fraud alerts come to you instead of her. You forward her mail for 2 of the accounts. You take out a personal line of credit. You keep spending and the banks keep approving because Nina's credit history is clean and her debt-to-income ratio looks fine from the outside. $214,000. In her name. You've spent it. She owes it. You know things about Nina that her friends don't know. You know her credit limit on every account. You know her payment history going back 12 years. You know her mother's maiden name. You know her employer and her salary. You built a financial life inside her identity and lived there for 14 months. You didn't just steal her name. You wore it. Nina is the identity you should have discarded in 3 weeks. Cole told you never to stay. You stayed 14 months. Because her credit was clean and the limits kept growing and the approvals kept coming, and every time you told yourself this is the last one, the next application came back approved. The signature on every form is yours. The name on every form is hers. She has no idea. She goes to work every day at the veterinary clinic. She saves money every month for a house she wants to buy. She checks her bank account, but she doesn't check her credit report. Nobody checks their credit report until they need it. And by the time she needs it, you'll have been inside her identity for over a year. Level 4. The score. Nina applies for a mortgage. Her first home. She's been saving for 5 years. Working overtime at the veterinary clinic. Putting money away every month. She walks into the bank. She sits across from a loan officer. The loan officer pulls her credit report. The loan officer's face changes. Credit score 412. For credit cards she never opened. A personal loan she never signed. A car loan for a vehicle she's never seen. A personal line of credit she didn't know existed. $214,000 in debt. Collections notices she never received because you forwarded her number. She sits in the chair and says, I don't understand. She says, I've never missed a payment. She says, I've been saving for 5 years. She says, this is supposed to be my first home. The loan officer says someone opened accounts in your name. The loan officer says this is identity theft. The loan officer says you need to file a police report. Nina spends the next 2 years fighting, calling credit bureaus, filing disputes, sending sworn affidavits. Each fraudulent account takes 4 to 6 months to remove. Some require a court order. The car loan company says prove you didn't buy it. The credit card company says prove you didn't sign. Everyone says prove it. She has to prove she's herself. She has to prove she didn't sign applications you signed in her handwriting that isn't her handwriting. Her mortgage is delayed 2 years. The house she wanted sells to someone else. Her credit score takes 18 months to recover. She spends $4,700 in legal fees to undo what you did with a $7 identity package. The FTC opens a case. The postal inspector traces the forwarded mail. They follow the P.O. boxes. 3 of them rented with fake IDs. But one, the first one, the one you opened when you were still learning. You used a real utility bill with your real address. Cole told you to never do that. You did it once. Once is enough. The postal inspector finds you through the 1 P.O. box. 1 utility bill. 1 real address among dozens of fake ones. The mistake you made in month 1 catches you in month 20. You're charged with 14 counts of identity theft. Aggravated identity theft. Mail fraud. Wire fraud. The total across all victims is $847,000. Nina's $214,000 is the largest single case. You never meet Nina. Not at the hearing. Not at sentencing. Not in the courtroom. She submits a victim impact statement. The prosecutor reads it out loud. She writes, I saved for 5 years. I did everything right. Someone I've never met took my name and used it to buy a life I can't afford. I still don't have my house. I still don't have my credit. I still don't have my name back. I don't know if I ever will. She signs the statement with her real signature. The same name you forged 100 times. Hers looks different from yours. Of course it does. She means it. You serve 3 years federal. After release you get a job at a bank. Not as a banker. As a fraud verification clerk. $16 an hour. You review credit applications and flag suspicious patterns. You verify identities. You check signatures. A Tuesday afternoon. A woman walks into the bank. She sits down with a loan officer. She's applying for a mortgage. You process the verification from your desk behind the partition. Her name comes up on your screen. You know it before you read it. You know it like your own handwriting. Because you spent 14 months writing it on applications she never signed. Nina. You pull her credit report. The score reads 761. 3 years ago, it was 412. She rebuilt it. Every dispute. Every affidavit. Every phone call to every credit bureau. 18 months of proving she was herself. For $1,700 in legal fees. And now 761. She's applying for a mortgage. The same dream she had 3 years ago. The house is different now. The savings are different. But the dream is the same. First home. Your job is to verify her identity. Confirm the name matches the social security number. Confirm the address matches the records. Confirm the signature on the application matches the signature on file. You look at her signature on the application. Her real signature. It looks nothing like yours. Of course it doesn't. Hers has 12 years of on-time payments in it. Yours had $214,000 of debt she didn't know about. You verify the application. You approve the check. You flag nothing. Because there's nothing to flag. She's real. The application is real. The signature is real. The mortgage will be real. The house will be real. She walks out of the bank 40 minutes later. The loan officer shakes her hand. She smiles. She doesn't look at the clerk behind the partition. She doesn't know your face. She will never know that the person who stole her name 3 years ago is the same person who just verified her identity today. You sign the verification report at the bottom. Your real name. Your real signature. On a form that gives her back what you took. The signature was always the easiest part. Giving it back is the thing that takes a lifetime.